Hi, everybody. Rad Mom here. Welcome back to the garden, my happy place to talk about scary things. Accordingly, tonight's episode is going to be focusing on my second Rad Fem heresy from the video a few weeks ago. The difference between theory and practice. When you go and try and read about radical feminism, a lot of what you're going to encounter are thick, wordy, philosophical tomes penned by women of past decades. You will see these books referred to as rad femme theory, and my heretical opinion is that that's not what they are at all. I think that working through the ideas that radical feminism brings out of us is practice, not theory. Allow me to explain. Radical feminist philosophy is notorious for its tendency towards extreme, incendiary statements. We are very close to death. All women are. Andrea Dworkin. Or outright illogical misogyny. A materialist feminist approach to women's oppression destroys the idea that women are a natural group. Monique Wittig. In what materialist worldview is the class female humans not a natural group? What kind of philosophy denies the existence of its constituents? Pundits don't go around denying the existence of politicians. CNN certainly does not see their job as destroying the idea of the political class. It's their bread and butter. And tell me, if this isn't some, academic-style pick-me shit. In last week's video, we delved a little bit into how the pick-me girl is just the latest iteration of projected self-hatred preventing us from progressing. The internalized misogyny is always someone else's problem. We point fingers without checking ourselves. Because interrogating this is a scary and confusing process that threatens to snowball until we're bitter and hateful of men, because that's what feminism turns women into, right? Temporarily. Speaking as someone a little older, I like to think I have worked through a lot of that. There is another side to reach. There is light at the end of the tunnel. But this phase of discovery and rebuttal is great drama, right? Put it in a book and it sells. But this painful, very personal process does not make great theory, because that's not what it is. These books all appear to me to be the response to radical feminist theory, that our society is misogynist at its root. And unpacking the ramifications of this. These ramifications are vast and horrifying and need discussing. But that is what women like Simone de Beauvoir and Andrea Dworkin and Monique Wittig were doing. I think understanding this distinction will create the practical structure radical feminism desperately needs and open up a space for some much needed house cleaning. This process needs a name. Maybe we could think of it as rebalancing our chi. In Chinese medicine, they refer to everyone's vital life energy as qi. And this makes me think of the four humors, and I'm using it as a metaphor. But poor self-care, like bad eating and sleeping habits, deplete your qi, your vital energy, your capacity for living life. In a similar way, engaging in patriarchal practices erodes our qi, our capacity for existing as a woman. Which, let's remind ourselves, is what we are. That should be square one. And y'all have no idea how much I did not want to be the one arguing this. I did not want to believe this, but sex differences matter psychologically. They do. To what extent? I can't be sure, because most people are trying to prove that they don't, both in the lab and in everyday life. In the minute that anybody says otherwise, we get, see? Women really are broodmares. And surely it is feminism's job to say, no, we are human beings, female ones. I've come to believe this defines our worldview as much as maleness does. They are not somehow the holders of reason, and we all know this on the surface. But like a spoiled child, masculine culture is sneaky and manipulative, and it has no shame in making its demands known, and it is never satisfied for long. Rebalancing our chi requires digging through heaps of nasty, stinking garbage. And suddenly, we may find we have an awful lot to say about things that most people have discarded. It is hard to find a companion on our journey into the mental landfill, and easy for the stress of it to overwhelm those relationships if we do. But sifting out anything we might recycle and burning the rest is the vital project at the heart of feminism. Personally and collectively, we must find and flush out ideas and elements of our perspective that cause us to limit ourselves, to sabotage ourselves. What is made conscious can be dealt with, and this is a very practical and arduous undertaking. But it is, at the end of the day, one of self-analysis, because our own perspective is the only one we can control. I think that failure to fully appreciate this is both a big tell on the part of the individual and a failure of feminism generally. So many of us generalize our experience onto men, onto other women, and then try to fix internal problems through external means. Liberal feminism has taught us that just changing the rules doesn't fix anything, doesn't get at the root of the problem of playing a rigged game. And ranting about it has its part to play. Knowing is half the battle, right? But the other half is strategy. And quitting is not a strategy. Quitting is not an option unless we want to just torpedo the whole species. And personally, I'm rather fond of us overall, and I'm not embarrassed to say that. We can't quit, and changing the rules only amounts to accepting patriarchal terms of negotiation. I want to propose that this is not a game at all, and that engaging in the power struggle only adds fuel to the fire. We are not inferior, and that is that. We have nothing to prove at work or at home, and thoughts that get you seeking external validation above your own are usually patriarchal gremlins, unbalancing your she. Admitting we all have them is the important first step to moving beyond shaking our finger at the world, to each becoming an agent of the change we want to see. We are all the problem. Me, you, her, and no amount of pointing fingers at external forces will stop us sabotaging ourselves. And I wonder if seeking wider societal recognition of our struggle isn't a form of this. Who are we trying to convince? Other women will just be insulted up front at being told how they are. And men are not going to understand. And we don't need them to. We don't need to exhibit our scars and prove that they are real. We don't need to display our pain. What we need is a safe space and a strong therapeutic protocol to untangle our unconscious self-hatred, our fear of the female form given to us by the world men built and only recently so generously allowed us entry into. Women's space, always deemed unimportant by men, was the cost of admission, a casualty of our eagerness to be included. But we need our own space, just as we will always have other material needs that they do not. And these are linked to a legacy of abuse that carries on to this day. A legacy we can ignore and risk perpetuating, or we can grow from as individuals and as a group. I believe each woman has within her her own second sex, her own woman-hating, her own verbose diatribe railing against the indignities we experience, large and small. I encourage every one of you to explore your pain and rage. Let some of that bile out. It's a good feeling. And then don't publish it anywhere. Share what bubbles up with a close friend. Let's support one another on this journey in private, in separation from the pressures and expectations of our masculinized world. Let this be feminism's job, in living rooms and bedrooms around the world. Let it begin here. Ask yourself, when was I the pick-me? When was I the not like the other girl's girl? When have I set myself apart from other women to make myself feel better? How did you think that would serve you, and how did that actually play out? This is a journey we all need to undertake as we work together to bring feminism back into the real world. If you feel me, if you're picking up what I'm laying down, then please subscribe to the channel. It means so much in trying to get this message out there. Feminism is in trouble, but women need a philosophy that speaks for us. We have to take our own needs seriously and stop asking for permission from patriarchy to express our pain. I had to come to this justification. I had to come to some justification of why it is that all of these books are important and bad theory at the same time. And this is what I've come up with, and I think that if we can recognize the difference between theory and practice in radical feminism, I think that that's going to give us a lot more breathing room. I think it's going to give us a lot more clear idea of what it is that we're trying to accomplish. So please, please, please do let me know what you thought down in the comments, and come back at the top of the hour for the live stream where we will dig further into this. And next Wednesday here for a new video. Thank you so, so much for joining me. I have been Rad Mom, and I'll see you then. Bye.